Hey, what's up, Army? Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to share this space with me. I hope you're doing well. Happy freaking Friday. Let's just get into it. I have a channeled message for you guys. Spirit picked this shirt out for me today. We discussed in the last reading, right? We did a reading. We discussed in the last reading taking it back to childhood. And this shirt makes me feel like I'm 7 again, but in a really good way, and with much curlier hair, because when I was younger my hair was like down to here and it was straight. My hair just keeps getting curlier the older I get. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, TMI once again. But the message that I'm getting, that I got today, is another layer to that. I did write it down, but I don't know that I need my notes. I do need my notes, but I'm sorry. Listen, I don't know what's going on. I still feel like that, like excited energy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you guys are excited about, or maybe Spirit's excited about something. I'm not really sure, but it's very lighthearted and it's very good. And that's where this message is going. In the last reading, like I said, we discussed going back to childhood and going back to the things that brought us joy. The things that, like for me, I loved my Barbie dolls and I loved My Little Ponies. I had a ton of My Little Ponies. I did not have a Cabbage Patch Kid. My mom didn't buy me one, but I had one that I had a knockoff one that she like sewed for me. Like she went to like this sewing class and she made it for me. I don't know. But my Barbie dolls, I had this bed that my dad made. It was kind of like a bunk bed. Like the top was like a bunk bed, and then the bed, there was a bed that like pushed underneath it. I guess it would be like, it was like a bunk bed slash like day bed, because my bed was on the bottom, my sister slept on the top. And anyway, the point of that is like the bunk part where the bed went in, I would pull my bed all the way out, and behind it I had a Barbie house and all my Barbies, and I would go underneath the bed and play with my Barbies. That was like my little space. And where Spirit is trying to take me and take us is going back to the joyful moments, despite how traumatic your childhood may or may not have been. It's going back and finding those golden nuggets, whether it was moments with your parents, your siblings, a grandparent, or even moments alone. It's finding those little nuggets and finding that joy, you know. I think back on like my parents. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but there were 4 of us. I have 3 other sisters. But my dad worked for the airlines, so we always got free flights. We flew standby everywhere, but it was free, so we would go to Florida and stuff like that. But even when we didn't, my parents found a lot of like local places, like my dad took us fishing. I went fishing. We used to go crabbing a lot. Like this stuff was like, this was free stuff, you know what I mean? We went to visit like caverns in Pennsylvania. I'll always remember that. it's like wherever we went, there was always, and it was always like nature oriented, which I love that. Like we saw the Grand Canyon. My aunt lived in Arizona. We went to visit her, and then while we were visiting her, we like my parents had no problem, especially my dad had no problem driving. We drove to Florida. We drove to Florida, even though we got free airfare. We did drive to Florida a lot. Let me just get into the channel message because this is going somewhere. So I'm gonna read to you what I got. Okay. The point of taking it back to childhood is to remember the good over the trauma. This is what I said already. Take the gems and leave the rest. What did you learn? What can you still learn? And what were your positive experiences? Repeating the stories of trauma brings the trauma into the present. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I know that I've said this before on this channel. When you're focusing on the past, you bring it into your future, into your present, as if it just happened, and you project similar experiences, or if not similar experiences, experiences that bring up similar emotions. So it is about leaving the trauma where it is and taking how it's affecting you. Like, for example, let's say your past gave you abandonment issues. You don't necessarily need to retell the story to know that you have abandonment issues. Your past gave you trust issues. You don't necessarily need to say, well, X, Y, and Z happened, and this is why I have trust issues. The thing is to work on the trust issue, to work on the abandonment issue, giving yourself a safe place, being your own safe place, being somebody that you can trust. My ear is ringing. Focus on what you're still carrying. That's what I'm saying. What are the effects? What do you need to heal? Release the anger and resentment. Those things bring more reasons to be angry and resentful into your present story. I hope that makes sense. Focus on the positive in all things and all past relationships. It's easy to say, fuck that person. They did X, Y, and Z to me. But what did you learn? What did they teach you? What fun did you have? It all matters. It all counts. And Spirit brought me to that. Like first I was brought through my childhood and finding the positive experiences with my parents, finding those moments where they were loving and nurturing, finding those moments where we did have fun, finding those moments and kind of letting the rest fall away, letting those positive, loving moments rise above that. And so I went through my childhood. Spirit took me through my childhood and then brought me into my past relationships. You know, it's easy to say, oh, that person manipulated me, that person did this, that person did that. We can stay angry about it. That's your choice. Or we can just decide to take the good, learn from the bad, and move on. Some of my most traumatic relationships, Spirit showed me how, before they became traumatic or outside of the moments where they were emotionally abusive or didn't value me, there was still a layer where I was in a partnership with someone I considered to be my friend. there were still moments where we laughed. There were still moments where we had fun. And this is not to say, oh, this is not to look back on it and say, oh, maybe I should call that person. No, no, no. This is about healing the relationship. This is about putting away the resentment, the anger, putting away the story. Thank you, Spirit. Putting away the story, the stories that we tell. Oh, I dated this guy and he did this and he did that and he did. We leave out the good when we tell these stories. We leave out what we learned. I have an ex that taught me how to play pool, and I'll never forget that. We, you know, we once, let me speak for myself, okay? I have spent a lot of time repeating these negative stories of my childhood, of my exes, of all these things that piss me off. And oh my God, you know, you get a reaction when you tell people so and so did this and so did that, and it's like, what a horrible person. And then you get your validation of, okay, so you agree I'm not crazy. That is fucked up. That is not normal. That is weird, right? I wasn't crazy for reacting this way. Spirit is saying we need to leave the stories alone and remember the good and release these people with love. And then they brought me into a near-death experience that I saw. I don't remember if I shared it or not. I feel like you guys don't really watch them, but I share them anyway. I saw this near-death experience where Spirit took this woman to, I forget how she explained it, but where she was in spirit, obviously, in what she called her observer self. And in her observer self, she observed her higher self picking out the circumstances and experiences that she wanted to have in this life. It's almost like Spirit's giving me the example of like add-ons to a computer program. Like, let's say you go to buy a computer and you're like, ooh, I want that one. And ooh, let's add that. And let's add the photo package. And let's add this. And let's add that. This is how Spirit is showing it to me. The woman did not describe that in her NDE, but this is how Spirit is showing it to me right now. So that's what this woman was observing herself choose these supposedly horrible experiences, right? But as her higher self was choosing these experiences, she was excited. And her observer self was like, what do you do? She was horrified. Like, why would you pick that? And why would you pick that? And what is going on? She obviously had no say in it. She was just her observer self. And she was watching her higher self choose these lessons. And she saw her higher self like excited to have these experiences because she knew the lessons she was going to learn from them. She knew the growth her soul would gain from these experiences. She knew that, and she was excited. She was like, yes, let's do that. It's like, yes, give me the pits of despair. Like, yes, let's jump into that volcano. Like, yes, we're going to do that, and we're going to meet that horrible person. And then on top of that, there were other souls that were soulmates. I guess it would be part of a soul tribe or something that were close to her, that were signing up to play certain roles, to play the role of, like, for example, signing up to be a person's abuser, signing up to be the villain in her life because they knew how it would help her soul grow. And living through these things, we're just like horrified at like, oh my God, why is all this happening? We forget that before we came here, we were excited to go through these things because there are things that we want to learn and we want to get through. Okay. Yes, I covered that part. If we don't learn and grow, if we stay stuck in what happened, if we can't drop the story, if we stay stuck in what happened, we fail our mission. If we are born into, if we are born into a rich family or a poor family, it's not for the status or lack of, but it's for the lessons designed into those family units. Wealthy people are not exempt from trauma or lessons just because they seemingly have it easy. Plenty of people take themselves out regardless of financial status because they couldn't handle or refused to handle the lessons within their circumstances. And then I saw my ancestors. I went back to like childhood and I saw my ancestors seeing me as a kid and seeing certain moments of me as a kid, whether I was playing with my strawberry shortcake or whatever it is, like they were giving me their memories of me as a kid. And then I got the message that your ancestors, our ancestors, take joy in seeing you learn and grow and find joy of your own. And they especially love it when you're able to grow and find joy in ways they weren't able to. See, we go through this thing called life. We get so focused on the physical. And we can look at the physical and keep going and keep that positivity and keep healing and keep growing because we don't know the ripple effect, the positive ripple effect that we can have. We don't know that smiling at a stranger can actually make their day. Maybe somebody was just about ready to give up and you walk by and you smile at them and you say hi and they're like, oh my God, somebody noticed me, somebody saw me. Maybe I'm not worthless. But the thing is that we're not only affecting people here, we're affecting souls on the other side. It is all collective consciousness. As above, so below. What I'm being shown is, it's like, how do I explain this, guys? It's like they're watching you do what they couldn't do. And they're like, oh, that's how she did it. Oh, it's like watching somebody else, learning by watching somebody else play a game. You understand what I'm saying? So our growth doesn't only affect our soul or the souls that are living on this planet. I mean, we know this. We know that it affects the collective consciousness. But this is like another level. Our ancestors, those watching out for us, our spirit, we're a team, our spirit team, which this goes into that. We're all learning and growing together. It's like watching somebody fix something, it's watching somebody, oh, wow, like watching a YouTube video. You want to learn how to change the brakes on your car, so you watch all these YouTube videos and then you go try it yourself. It is helping them to come into or to incarnate, to incarnate as, like, with those lessons, with what they've seen you do, with what they've learned from you. Does that make sense? It helps the collective in more ways than you realize. I thought somebody was coming in the front door. I'm like, I know nobody's home. Okay. Where are we? Right. That's what breaking generational curses is about. Learning, growing, healing, finding joy, and forgiving. Forgiveness is huge. And when you're able to drop the stories and to see a person in a different light, it doesn't make what they did okay, but it makes you okay. Then I saw myself, I was sitting with them, and it was weird. I really don't know how to explain this. I did write it down. I saw myself I like it's like I felt that this was a costume. I don't know that I've ever felt that before. I felt that this is just the costume that I chose for this life. It was I didn't write it down. I didn't write it down. It was like I saw, well, I mean, I wrote it down, but not in the sense that I'm getting it right now. I saw that I've lived lives before. I saw that I've sat down to connect with my ancestors in this life before. I saw that this spirit team that I have has been with me through all of those lifetimes. I've never felt like this body was a costume before. I mean, I know it. You know what I mean? And I've had moments in the past, but this was different. It was almost like I felt uncomfortable in my, like it felt like a suit. If that makes any sense. I hope it does. I saw that this is just the costume I chose this life, and I saw that as difficult as I feel my life has been at times, this has still been my easiest lifetime, and that those lessons and truths I found so hard to swallow is because they're the ones it has taken me lifetimes to overcome. I know that my spirit team has been with me through every life. That's why they're so good at coaching me with the exact words I need to hear. They've pulled me out of some of the darkest places, and I know it's because I've been through those spaces. We've been through those spaces together before. And then, like, the spirit gave me the analogy of, like, you know how these kids play video games now, right? They're online. They got a headset. And I've given the analogy before, where, like, this is like a video game, and we get to a certain level, and every time we come back we try and beat that level. You know what I mean? And it's like this is what I wrote, they're online on the other side of the headset, of my headset, reminding me we've been here before and coaching me around the traps and monsters. It's like when I come up through something, I get that guidance, and they don't say we've been here before, but they know what to say to steer me around or through whatever is coming, and that's because we've beat that before. But I personally feel like I am at a level I haven't made it to before. This feels like new territory, and I know that's why there are times where I feel lost, or I feel like I'm not really sure what to do. And I know that's because I've reached a point that I haven't reached before. So it's exciting and terrifying all at the same time, but still, my spirit team tells me to just keep going. And yeah. So lastly, I heard the mission isn't always easy, but it's simple. And it's important that you know that no matter what, you're never alone. All you have to do is put on that headset and tap in. And that's the message. It actually went a little quicker than I thought it would be. But that is the message, and I don't want to disturb it by attaching a reading to the end of this. I just want that to be the message. And I don't know if you can relate. I don't know if you got something out of that. I really hope that you did. I feel like it was a lot packed into this, like, condensed 4 pages. It felt like a lot channeling it, because, like I said, Spirit brought me through a lot of different experiences in my life to really show me the message that they're trying to drive home. And I guess if you're to take some key points from that, it would be: find the nuggets, find the gems in your life, find the joy, remember your joy, remember what made you happy, remember the good in the relationships. Because when we focus on that gratitude, when we focus on that joy, when we focus on those things, that's what we're bringing into our present moment. And that's what we inevitably end up projecting into our future. So we have 2 choices in this present moment all the time. We can choose to repeat the negative of the past and project that into our future. Or we can carry those golden nuggets with us into the present and be confident that the universe is going to respond and give us more of that in our future. Because we focus on what we want, not what we don't want, right? We focus on what we want to cultivate. What we want. What do you want to sow? What are the seeds you want to sow in this present moment? Is it more negativity? Is it more trauma? What do you want to see along the path? Do you want to find the light, find the nuggets, find the joy? Or do you want to stay on the dark side of the street? That's up to you. I'm going to leave it at that. I feel great, so I'm going to be back with a reading. We're just going to take a short intermission, and I will be back with a reading. If you are still with me, of course, you know you are a real one, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your comments, your emails, your donations, all of that. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you more than you know. I will catch you on the next one. You're beautiful. I love you.